So it is the Springboks versus England in the World Cup final. Check out this video for my thoughts. Welcome back, guys. So it is the final. It's England versus South Africa. After England outplayed New Zealand last week 19-7, South Africa narrowly beating Wales 19-16. We have this final now. If you want to see the bronze final video that I also covered, it will be linked up here. But for now, we'll just be focusing on the big one, the big final of 2019. It is basically the repeat of the 2007 World Cup final, where South Africa beat England 15-6. And from that World Cup winning side, there is only one guy remaining on the park. It is the then 20-year-old prodigy who is now the 32-year-old veteran in the side, Frans Steyn. And what role is he going to be playing in this game? Unlike that tournament, England is the outright favourites for this game, though. They've completely outplayed New Zealand and basically all the other teams that they have faced up against. Also, they have the advantage of having a 7-day turnaround going into the final, where the Springboks only had a 6-day turnaround. So it's small things as well weighing in, but England are the favourites going into this one. Recent history between the two sides, the last 10 games that they have played, dating back to that 2007 World Cup. South Africa have won 6 of the games, England have won 3, and then there has been 1 draw between them. They last met in 2018, they met 4 times last year, where South Africa won 2 over here in South Africa, England won 1 here in South Africa, and then also 1 in Twickenham. So it's 2 for 2 for both sides, so it has been pretty close. The last game that they have played was England beating South Africa 12-11, so that was also pretty close. Both teams have come a long way since then, so it's not so easy to just compare it like that. Both teams play completely differently. Now, before I get into the lineups of the team, remember to subscribe if you do like the video. The one-on-one battles, I want to do a special video about that as well. It will be linked up here if it's already out, but it will be posted tomorrow. Let's get into the lineups. So both coaches only made 1 change to their squads, but I'll get into that a little bit later. England's front row, though, it is Vunipola, George and Sinclair. They've been pretty stable. They were stable against the All Blacks as well, and they actually got some penalties against New Zealand as well. The front row they're going up against is the one of the veteran Matwararira, the beast, 117th caps for South Africa. Mbunambi, he's been in great form, even though he is receiving a bit of pressure from Marks, who used to be the starting hooker, but he is receiving pressure, and this is just making the battle even better, making both players even better. Malherbe is also in the front row, and the South African scrum has been just immense so far. They've been great. They've been standing up to every pack so far, so it's gonna be a good one. Second row, Itoje, he's in stellar form. He was man of the match last weekend in the semi-final. He is just a line-out challenger, and he's very good in tackles and in turnovers. He is joined by Courtney Laws, and like I said, they are probably the 2 best locks, the lock combo in Northern Hemisphere rugby. They are going up against 2 locks that aren't too bad themselves. They are going up against Etzebeth, who is playing his 85th cap for South Africa, and he is still the enforcer in the side, even though people don't see what he is doing anymore. He's the guy just going into every tackle, tiring out the other team, so that the guys come from the bench and put more pressure on them. Luete Jagri is an excellent line-out caller. He's very good at that strategy of the game. South Africa had a 100% winning record in their lineouts up till the semi-final, so it's just a great lineout that they have. They have a lot of good strategies there. Their maul is also very good that they set behind that, so it's a good place for South Africa to build on. Then for England, in the loose trio, they have 2 fetchers in the side, Curry and Underhill. They will have a target on their back with the ability just to win this game for England. I'll get into that a little bit later as well. They can just change everything in this game, so they will have a target on their back, and the South Africans will try and get them out of those rucks, try and make them make the tackle and not get over the ball. The strong running Vunipola is also in the side. They are going up against Kulisi, who is playing his 50th cap, 20th cap as a captain of the side, and he's such an inspiration in South Africa. Who wouldn't want to see this guy lifting the trophy at the end of the day? Coming from a township, now he's in this position. I would love seeing Kulisi lift that trophy. Pieter Stefsetoy, he's the big tackler in the side, and he helps in the lineouts as well. He's also a second rower by nature, or flanker by nature, but he was in the second rower for a couple of years. And then number 8, Dwayne Vermeulen up against Vinnie Paula. It's going to be a fantastic battle. If you want to see more of that one-on-one battles, I will do a video on it. Like I said, it will already be linked up there if it is out, but I'll get into that a little bit more in that video. Then we get to the back line for England. They have the very experienced Youngs, who's playing his 94th cap. Interestingly, they went with Ford again at number 10. There was some speculation that Farrell would shift into number 10 and Tulagi into 12, just to cover some strong runs from Damian de Allende. I mean, Ford and Farrell, between them, missed 8 tackles last week in the semi-final, and you cannot afford that against a guy like Damian de Allende, who can just get 3 guys tackling him miss just like that. So it's going to be pressure on them, but I'm sure Eddie Jones has it covered. He is a very smart coach in that side. Faf de Klerk at number 9 for South Africa. He is the man to watch. England is going to check him, because that box kicks is just going to be a lethal weapon for South Africa. It just pins the opposition back in their own half, and from there South Africa just defends him. Of course, he can also release his natural flair, his natural game as well. Every now and then just snap in, go for a little bit of a run, and then he can be dangerous as well. At number 10, Pollard, he was man of the match last weekend with 100% goal kicking. And that's going to be very important again this week. He's just going to have a lot of responsibility on his shoulders. At the centres for England, number 12, Farrell is the captain. He's the second playmaker in the side, obviously because he can play number 10 as well. And he's one of the reasons England actually plays this expansive game really well, because they have 2 playmakers in the sides, basically 2 number 10s next to each other, so they can get the ball out wide very quickly. Number 13, the big Tulagi, will do his thing. For number 12 for South Africa, they have Damian de Allende. He's probably the in-form player for South Africa at the moment. His favourite channel to run is that 10-12 channel between Ford and Farrell this weekend, so he might get into that a little bit, and maybe for South Africa get a high tackle from Farrell, who has been known for having a poor tackling technique in the past. He doesn't have the nickname Shoulder Boy for nothing, so he might go in there, try and get a penalty, yellow card even. A card would ruin this contest, by the way, so I'm not hoping for that for any team. I don't want someone to get a card. Number 13, he's the defensive organizer in the side of the box, and he rarely misses a tackle. So it's going to be a big one versus Tulagi, because Tulagi rarely gets tackled. Out wide we have Johnny May for England. He's an absolutely lethal weapon in that side. Watson just as dangerous, and then Daly, who runs a lot like Willie Leroux, joins the line, another playmaker in the side, but he has the added advantage of having a massive boot on him. So giving away long range penalties is going to favour England for the first half, at least until Frans Steyn comes on. Then the battle out wide continues. It is immense. Mapimpi is out wide with 5 tries so far in the World Cup. He's just going to be pressured under the high ball still. He's still struggling to catch them. Colby at number 14. England won't be happy with his fitness that he is back. He's just so dangerous. He can step anyone in a mailbox. It's just get the ball out wide to Colby. He'll do his thing. Willie Leroux, he stays in the side. Even though he has been in bad form, he still has the ability to change a game for South Africa, so he remains in the side. The benches, Cowan, Dickey, Marler, Cole, Creas, Wilson, Spencer, who is in for Hines, so it's Spencer's first game of the World Cup. Hey, here he could maybe lift the trophy after this one appearance. And then Slade and Joseph. The bench for South Africa, they have Marks, Kitsoff and Koch, the very strong front row. They can basically start if they wanted to. Snyman and Mostert, so it's 2 locks on the bench as well, so it's a whole tight pack on the bench. And they obviously have Lowe as well, Francois Lowe, who plays with some of these guys in England, and we all know why he comes on. He comes onto the field to fetch that ball at the end when it is very crucial. He has done it in a couple of games so far. So that is the first 6 players on the bench, who are all forwards, who brings a lot of energy to the side. They make a lot of tackles. I mean, Koch was the second highest tackler in the game last weekend against Wales, and he came off the bench. Herschel Yankees, who has been nominated for Breakthrough Player of the Year, and then Frans Steyn, like I said, gonna be very crucial when he comes on anywhere on the park, just to slot over long penalties if it is necessary. After looking at the teams, let's look at the different facets of play and who will win the different battles. Scrums, I cannot see an out-and-out winner. It's gonna be pretty even. Both have been very strong. Lineouts, the same thing. Both have been very strong. Both are great. The box bench might have a little bit of an upper hand on the substitutions of the English side, but I still think it is pretty even. 9-10 combo, definitely the theme of the day. Also pretty even. Youngs, he might be more experienced than Faf, but we all know that what Faf can do. Ford, pretty good distributor in the side of England, but Pollard, the same thing. So pretty even in that battle as well. Another important battle in this game will be rucks. England may dominate with a lot more fetching on the side. They have 2 fetchers on the side, but South Africa play a different style of game. They don't have their fetchers really in front. They have fetchers distributed all over the park. One of the big fetchers in the side is Damien de Allende. So just to give you that little bit of context, but I do think England does win this one. They have more fetchers on the park until the South African bench comes on with Matt and Francois Lowe. So they have the ability to change the game up if it is necessary. The key ones has been listed, but there's other facets of the play as well. How the centers go up against each other, how it goes up wide, defensively, all those things. But in all those, it is pretty even, so I didn't go into it too much. I don't know if England will play an expansive game in this one. I mean, it is finals rugby. Usually people don't play in the final that expansive type of rugby. They will probably adapt and kind of match South Africa in their game, but hey, is that the smartest technique? Maybe Eddie Jones will just continue with what he has been doing. So it's difficult, but I do think it is definitely going to be a physically bruising contest in this one, and just the first team to pounce on mistakes will win the game at the end, or the team just pouncing on most of the mistakes. My prediction for this weekend, usually I figure it out properly, I'm completely unbiased, but this weekend, I hope you forgive me for being biased in this one. I'm backing the South Africans completely. Even if they are underdogs, I think South Africa will win by 3. Guys, I hope you enjoy this final. It is going to be a huge one. We've been waiting for it for 4 years. We're going to have a big battle out there. Enjoy it wherever you're from. Support one of the teams. Pick one. Pick your favorite player. Whatever. Enjoy the game. If you want to check out any of my other videos, it's going to be next to me. And then I'll see you for the next one. Cheers.